What a great time to start the new year. I'm going to let this go and you can listen to it.
Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tusi TV. This is your global news channel. I'm Maya Tusi, and the Islamic Republic of Iran continues to fall. It hasn't fallen yet, but it is falling, and the Iranian people have taken full control of the streets in almost all cities and towns. The IRGC forces have been retreating. We also have an update about the supreme leader. We believe he has now left the capital. And there is also a couple of updates in terms of the Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, and the Israeli government. We have a statement, video statement from an Israeli minister, which we will bring you. But we have a special guest today with us. We have Mossad's very own Catherine Shackdown. Catherine, welcome to the channel. How are you?
Thank you. You don't understand. This is the best way to start the year for me. And congratulations, you're doing so well. And I would encourage everybody to subscribe. You guys, this is the best TV in the world right now, coming from you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I didn't pay her to say this. In fact,
No, I
Mossad
didn't.
pay.
They should.
Mossad.
You should.
No, Mossad needs to pay me. Apparently, they owe me like $7,000 per post. So, give me the money.
God, I should be rich by now as well. So let me make a few phone calls and see what they can do.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with the show as we have a situation in Iran. Um, there is an update from the airport in Mehrabad. Let's just quickly go to that because we also have the flight radar, which we'll show you shortly. But passengers and control tower announcements now indicates that all incoming and outgoing flights at Mehrabad Airport in Tehran have now halted. They haven't really given any notice or official explanation, but it's not really that much of a surprise. But we also have the local police and authorities who have a number of them switched sides. We have a number of videos we're going to go through together with Catherine, and obviously we're going to get her perspective on everything that's going on in Iran as somebody who spent a few years in Iran to see what she knows about what's going on. The mullahs have brought in the proxies, the Arab militias, to help with the crackdown. And we have this as one of the eyewitnesses who filmed for us mentioned this. So let's quickly go to that video from last night, and then we'll come back with everything else.
این مزدوران سرگرد تا میگه خونخواه جنراتار حکومتی پیشتاش اصلا ایرانی اصلا فارسی صحبت نمی‌کنن پول
Saying they don't even speak Persian.
نابود کنن به خاطر پول اون بی پدر و مادرای حرامزاده معلومه از اینا رو از کجا میارن
They're chanting to the security and the police, support us. And meanwhile, of course, the guy was saying that they don't even speak Persian. How much are you aware of this tactic that they use in Iran during the crackdowns, bringing in people from Iraq or back in the day, obviously Syria, not anymore, to help with the crackdown? Do they have many proxies in Iran?
Okay, so this is actually a great question. So the regime has a protocol set in place, should things go south, and it definitely went south. I would argue west. We'll come to that later. Khamenei, I think, has lost his grip on power. Look, several things happened that I found very interesting. The first thing was that Basij did not, get into play. And you know as well as I do that normally this is what happens. They use Basij, they make a few arrests, they scare people, they shoot, a few live bullets, not too many, because they don't want to create more of a situation, just enough for people to go home and be scared, which is completely understandable. Now, they didn't do this. They literally called the RSGC immediately. So that tells you two things. Number one, Basij is not responding, which is fun. And number two, they have to accelerate the protocol of crackdown and go to the, the very heavy approach immediately. That tells you that there's incredible fear within the regime, and that most likely Moshtaba, who's in charge of all the crackdown, is
That's the
literally
son.
losing
That's
his
the son
mind
of
right
Khomeini.
now.
Yeah, that's the son.
Absolutely. The heir to the throne or whatever.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to calling the proxies, and this for this one, you're gonna have to say thank you to Yossi Cohen people, because the pagers took out a lot of them. So, Yossi, hi. This is what I'm gonna say. When the regime calls for outside forces to come in, the proxies, people, I have news for you. You have won the show, the day, the year. 2026 is going to be good for you people. They lost, because this is the last hope for the regime to try to consolidate the position and to try to savage whatever needs to be savaged, which is not much. So, when they don't respond because there's not many left in play, things are going to get very difficult very quickly for the regime. Now, Iraqis do not want to come in. The Houthis, I can guarantee you, there's no way in hell they're going to enter the play, because they know exactly what's going to happen. Bibi might happen. So they don't want to try again. The last time that they shot a missile in direction of Tel Aviv, Bibi responded by taking out 90% of the cabinet. So they understand that now there's a price to pay. And so they don't want to come to the aid of a regime that is literally in free fall. And so they won't come. Now, Hezbollah cannot cross the border, because there's Syria that stands in the middle. I don't think that Jolani will see too kindly, and he won't be able to allow anyone to go through. You also have to go through Drew's territory. Good luck with that one, because you people shut them, remember? They remember that one. So I think that the regime is paying the price of decades of mass murder, of sexual exploitation, human trafficking, organ trafficking, and all manners of crimes against humanity. So I'm extremely pleased to say this regime is on its last leg. Can we cut it off, please? Thank you.
Yes, also all because that idiot Yahya Sinwar decided to become ambitious and invade Israel. Idiot. Anyway, let's go to the rest of the videos that we're just receiving now. Let's go to the capital in Tehran. More people are coming out on the 5th day of the uprising. They're chanting shameless as usual. And we will talk about the Supreme Leader and his location potentially, but the police, a number of police officers have now defected. We have received one video. There's been a lot of these type of videos. Let's quickly go to this guy who has obviously hidden his face and identity, but he's wearing his uniform.
من به عنوان یک پلیس که قسم یاد کردم حافظ جان و مال ایران و ایرانی باشم، از تو همسنگر با شرف و با غیرت خودم که پرچم پر افتخار شیر و خورشید نشان را به اهتزاز درآوردن حمایت میکنم. ما سربازان گارد جاویدان شاهنشاه منتظر روز موعود هستیم تا در کنار مردم در مقابل این حکومت ستمگر ظالم، جنایتکار و کودککش بایستیم و در آخر یک وطن، یک درد، یک صدا با هم متحد شویم. جاوید شاه، پاینده ایران و ایرانی.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
That's not good for the environment. Trees died for that paper. Come on.
Don't. You're gonna activate Greta. Please leave her alone. Like, let her be.
Activate Greta. So this is interesting because this has followed the statements that the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi has been sending out over the last few months about giving a chance to those who are working in the government, whether they're in the police, whether they are in the military, saying you still have time. If you basically defect, and then obviously some of you guys, if you're senior, you're going to have to face the trial and justice. But some of you, obviously, if you were just serving the country, then, you can have a chance to help rebuild the country. But it's going to be very difficult to find out who's done what, basically, because it's going to be a Nuremberg style sort of trials for the top of the. I don't know how many of them are going to be staying in Iran. They're probably going to, a lot of them escape. But let's talk about Khamenei before we go to the next videos. So we're now hearing that he's left the capital, so which means that he's still alive. A lot of people thought that he's dead already. But firstly, location-wise, where could he go? Secondly, is it anybody in charge giving orders? Because we don't see the IRGC or Basijis or anybody on the streets, and we just have like 5-10 police officers or security forces with official uniforms, and pushing people out. There have been shootings, obviously. There have been some casualties, but at this point, on the 5th day, there should have been 2,000 people dead right now, but it's not. What's happening?
Well,
Dr.
what's
Khamenei
happening?
first.
Let me give you my take on this. First of all, the gentleman has gone west. That we know.
West of Iran.
Yeah, west of Iran. So now, in my mind, he's going to try to leave the country if he hasn't done so already. To where I don't know, because I'm imagining that Russia will be a very uncomfortable position. I mean, he can go and say hi to Bashar al-Assad, but I'm not sure that the guy's going to want to have tea with him. Just like so. This is the problem when you're a regime and you butcher everybody and annoy everybody else on the planet. So it becomes the planet becomes very small in India. Now, Musk, Elon, if you're listening, if you feel like sending the guy to Mars, knock yourself out. I'm happy with that one. I think it's going to be tricky. I mean, this Qatar.
I don't think so. I don't think so because President Trump is keeping Qatar close. So that tactic is.
I don't think anyone wants to repeat of Yossi's speech and the beepers because things could go bump in the night. Also, Israel has hit Qatar before, so we could do it again.
Which is very embarrassing for Qatar. Very embarrassing.
I mean, look, I think it'd be one too many for Al-Thani to say, I welcome war criminals and people who commit crimes against humanity. I think that Khamenei is going to have to pull the plug at that one and say, I'm sorry, Ali, but you're going to stay put. So I don't know where he's going to go. I'm waiting. What is interesting is that when I was there, I was told of, again, yet another protocol. They love their protocols. Where normally, if things went, bad, he would go to Mashhad. Why Mashhad? So back then, Soleimani was still breathing. So that was before Trumpy. And Soleimani had organized, there's a whole bunch of tunnels under the shrine. And so, there's a command center there. And so he was meant to, it's high up in the mountains. So it was meant to be the kind of last ditch attempt to regain control of the regime or to potentially relocate over there and maybe do like some kind of a coming out party, in direction of Afghanistan, for example. So that I think he has abandoned, which is very interesting. Because it means that, the Deobandi, who are, I mean, look, a long time ago, decades and decades ago, the Deobandi movement was created in Pakistan for the sole purpose of creating yet another proxy east. Why? Because they wanted to make sure that should they lose their proxy, like Hezbollah, Hamas, and all the others, they would have something to fall back on, right? Now, the Deobandi could not be converted, obviously, to Shia Islam, and so they reinvented some kind of a soup and decided to say, we're going to do yet another version of Sunni radicalism that is quite close to the Muslim Brotherhood. So, something I want to talk about too, if you have time, because the two are not as opposed to one another as they would like you to think. And so, if our lovely government here in the UK, now holding my breath, wants to do something, they're going to have to prescribe both the RSGC. Now would be the time, just before they get debunked, do us a favor, just do it so we have a win. But do the same thing for the Muslim Brotherhood. And I think that we need to take our cue from the Emirates. They have done the right thing a long time ago. Let's catch up, people.
Well, the focus should be on both Muslim Brotherhood, even though there's Sunni and the IRGC, because we were talking to, obviously, Sheikh Khalid, and he was obviously talking about the same thing. Let's quickly go back to around the videos. And let's go to more videos coming as the crowd are standing in front of the police and security and chanting, "Long live the king," and the police are just standing there looking at them. Let's go to the next one. Crazy. Now, Mardasht as well in the Pars province in the south, the regime have abandoned their vehicles. There was a situation where they captured one of them who was apparently gathering intelligence, and this is what happened. A lot of... It's a van.
Oh, well.
They also started attacking Khomeini's monument. We can go to Kudash quickly. As obviously they've got these monuments and statues everywhere in the squares and in the roundabouts. This is what they've done to one of them. This is the situation in Kudash. On the right hand side, that's what it was, the monument, which is ironic because it's a hollow monument. Yeah. It's empty, it's vacant, and the left is the picture from today. They've destroyed it. This is the remains of it.
Is that a reflection of their soul because it's empty?
Very, very empty. But the IRGC's Basij units are also fleeing the cities like rats, and but they're obviously firing at protesters as they do this. So it's a complete mess. Let's quickly go to the next one. They're all running away. Saying they're all fleeing the streets. So, yeah, they're retreating backwards while shooting at the crowd. Cowards. If we go quickly to Lordagon as well, then I'm going to talk about Mossad's potential role in this and the operatives on the ground with Catherine. In Lordagon, people continue to chant, "Long live the king." It's a war zone. It's interesting. "Long live the king" has become the war cry. When they want to energize themselves, or when they're in trouble, or whatever happens, they just start shouting and screaming, "Long live the king." It's fascinating that that's become the symbol after, what, 48 years almost.
It's beautiful, Maria. Like, I think, when we talk about the return of the king, I think, Tolkien had an epiphany, and he was thinking, maybe he was talking about the Shah, who knows. But I think that Reza Shah needs to absolutely come out in force. And I mean, he already called people yesterday to come and join. And I would strongly, and look, I'm not Iranian, I can't tell you what to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, you guys, you have a fantastic crown prince who, has the legitimacy that is needed. Go for it, back him up. I mean, today is the day to do it. If you're ever going to do anything in 2026, do that.
Yeah,
seriously,
exactly. It's time. Another IRGC base has been brought down, by the way. This is again in Lordagon. I don't understand what's going on. But I feel
it's crumbling. Maria, look, for month and month and months. This is the thing that people don't understand, is that I would actually argue for years the regime has been holding on by a thread. It's just the thread was so overblown in terms of the way that they represented themselves to the media. Legacy media has a lot to answer to when it comes to projecting strength when there was none to be had. And so, do you know the likes of the BBC Persia? Yes, I'm talking to you. I don't like you. You were horrible. I mean, seriously, they tried to have me killed almost by alleging that I've done all those, crazy things in Iran. They were just hoping that a psycho would potentially take a knife to my throat and call it a day. I'm still here.
Yeah.
So,
didn't BBC Persia call you the most dangerous Mossad agent in Iran?
You're welcome. I'm gonna say. I mean, look. Do you know what? Speaking of which, okay, today we tell the truth. Okay, but not that one. Do you know that Yossi just a few weeks ago? Not that one. I mean, buy the book. I'm writing a book, so buy the book. Watch the movie. I'm making a movie too. It should be fun.
Yeah. So tell people about Yossi Cohen. Who is he? Yeah. What's his role?
So Yossi Cohen, former head of Mossad. If you don't know him, you really should. The guy made history. Okay, not that I'm a fan. I'll admit it. I think he's a wonderful man. And I took a picture with him, so I'm happy. But look,
priorities.
He won. We talk. A few weeks ago, he came out and he actually sent a very dear warning to Khamenei and co. by saying something very simple: is that number one, we have more things than you think everywhere in the world in terms of being able to replicate the beepers and more. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, we know where you sleep. Now, if you speak Farsi, and I would suspect that maybe Yossi knows a thing or two about Farsi, he understands the culture. When you tell an Iranian that you know where he sleeps, meaning you don't know who's around you, and maybe they have betrayed you, but also we know exactly where you are. So when you go, you take a shower, you have your breakfast, you have your tea, you do anything at all. There's about a gazillion people watching you right now on a TV screen, having fun with you, or I would say, you know, over you. So the chickens are coming to roost.
Absolutely. It's getting closer and closer. But if we go to the next video, because over the last couple of days, we've been showing a lot of IRGC bases, basic bases, falling into the hands of the people. So the only thing that makes sense is that when the people were there, the base was already empty. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because they easily took over and basically burned the whole thing down. There's another one that we can just show you now from Lord.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know if weapons were still there? Because look, if I can give an advice to people, if you allow me, because obviously Iranians needs things, it needs weapons to protect themselves, essentially. I'm not calling out for violence, but I am 110%
self-defense.
for people being able to protect themselves, of course, and their family. Let's remember that they're going to try to do an outing and they're going to try to target women and children because this is what they do best, horrible things. So I would advise people to grab a hold of whatever it is that they can to protect their family. Make plans, make sure that, you know, you and organize yourself within the neighborhood to make sure that your kids are protected, that your wives are protected, that you make sure that your daughters are home, because this is the time when men show up in the streets. This is the time where women stay home to protect. You know, let's just not kid ourselves and wait for women to do it all. And I know that they've done tremendously well. I mean, look, this revolution, Maria, was done by women. I mean, what they've done, and I have, you know, I have every respect for Iranian women. I've spoken about them a million times because I'm in awe of them. The courage it takes to stand to the likes of Khamenei, knowing what happens in Evin prison, understanding that you don't risk just your life or your safety, but that of your loved ones. When a mother does that, when she's willing to sacrifice the future of her family in order to protect the country she loves, you know that this regime has gone too far.
That's true. It's very true. But again, on the issue of the bases, you're right. If there are weapons, I don't know if they're taking them. We don't have any evidence yet, but perhaps. But let's go to the next one first. In Lordagon, another IRGC Basij base brought down. That's the gate. And there are also reports that the Ayatollahs and the mullahs, the clerics, are now taking off their robes and the turbans and they are changing into civilian clothes and they are fleeing the cities. One video we have as evidence is the guy who was driving near one of them as he was changing his clothes in the middle of the motorway and getting into his car. Let's go.
کسکشا خایه کردن نگاه کنین لباساشون عوض میکنن لباس شخصی میشینن
That was a very 18 plus insult, but let's just quickly show you this is the bit where there we go. There we go. So that's the guy. He's got his turban, he's got his robe out, he's putting it in the car and he's taking off his turban. Yeah, so that's it's interesting that they are completely terrified. They don't want to be identified anymore because over the last few years we also had this campaign that young people were going around the streets just hitting the turban off. that was
so hang on. I have a question. So what will happen